Hello and welcome to Coach Hoots' Hot Corner Episode 6, brought to you by bchornetsports.com. I'm Coach Jared Hoots, and on this week's episode, we're coming to you live back in the cold Midwest. For last week, I've been enjoying the warm 70-degree Gulf air, some quality family time, some golf, and way too much southern fried food ranging from shrimp, fish, and pizza. I hope everyone had a safe and happy New Year. This week, we're going to take a look at This Week in Hornet Sports, give you my preview and prediction of the Winchester Tournament, and on my high horse, we're going to talk about the importance of small-town basketball tournaments. Our Lady Hornets basketball team record sets at a nice 11-6 heading into the new year. The Lady Hornets start off the new year Monday at Greenfield Northwestern, which is currently at 7-5. This is a WIVC contest. Then the Hornets are back at home against Calhoun in another WIVC contest at the Nest on Wednesday. On Saturday, the girls start the CSE Classic at Camp Point. The Hornets play at 1 o'clock versus South Fulton. South Fulton is currently 11-7, led by Amanda Parker, who is averaging 11.7 points per game. Then turn around and play Quincy High, which stands at 5-4 at 6 o'clock. This unique tournament has each team playing 2 games on the first day of pool play. The Hornets also have Minden Unity and Illini West in their pools. Currently looking at the WIVC standings, Route's still on top at a perfect 3-0, followed by West Central that is 3-1, and everybody else is kind of at the middle of the pack right now. The boys' record sits at 7-6 as we start off the new year. They start off 2020 at 5-5 Greenfield Northwestern Tigers on Tuesday. The Tigers are currently riding a 3-game losing streak coming off the Waverly tournament. The Hornets defeated the Tigers 49-27 in the Spartan Classic. That game was probably the Hornets' best defensive effort all year. Knowing Coach Joey Pembroke, he will have made some adjustments and have the Tigers ready to go down in Greenfield. The Hornets will play Rushville, who is 10-3 at home on Thursday at the Nest. Rushville will be coming to the Nest riding their best record in a while at 10-3. On Saturday, the Hornets open up the Winchester Tournament at 10:30 time slot versus the West Central's JV. West Central's JV team in the tournament is in the tournament because Rushville got out of the tournament and nobody else came in. That's a tough slot because it's early in the morning and nobody wants to play the JV team. Hopefully the Hornets come ready to play and take care of business and get ready for the rest of the winners bracket. Speaking of the Winchester Tournament, I'm going to give you my preview and picks of the tournament. To start with, I hope the Hornets win the whole thing. But in this section, I'm going to give you my outsider's opinion of the tournament. In the first game of the tournament, the number 1 seed West Central Cougars, the host school, at 13-0, plays Triopia, which is 5-5 at 9 in the morning. Just like when it's the night before Christmas, the kids in Winchester can't sleep the night before the Winchester tournament. Normally, you worry about a 1 seed playing in the 9 o'clock game versus a quality team. Normally worries the coach. But being at home with the players Winchester has, I think West Central wins this one, but I think it'll be a close one for a while. The Trojans are coming off a consolation championship at Waverly, and Coach Thompson has the Trojans playing well coming into it. Also, many of these kids were along for the run to state last year for the Trojans. But the 3-headed monster of Cox, Evans, and Howard is too much for Triopia. In the second game, I have the Hornets over the West Central JV. In the third game of the tournament, it's a WIVC battle pitting 2 South teams, Calhoun at 10-0 coming in versus a 3-6 Carrollton team. I like Calhoun's size in this one. Calhoun is coming off a Carlinville championship, a Spartan Classic championship, and is also undefeated. They have Corey Nelson, a 6'7 point guard, which is a matchup nightmare. Coach Grainer will use him to gain the offensive advantage. The Carrollton kids always play hard at Winchester, but I think they draw the short end of the stick here. Route and Camp Point play the 1:30 slot. Route is 9-3 coming off a second place at Waverly. They are led by the athletic Corey Ronan and Adam Lindsay. Route both size inside also. Camp Point is 1-9. After a regional championship year last year, they find themselves in the small school rebuilding year that every program goes through. Coach Barnett is playing young kids looking forward to the future. Route is too much in this one. Game 5 is the 12-0 Payson Indians versus the 5-5 North Green Spartans. Paysons are winners of the Greenville Christmas Tournament and the Pittsfield Thanksgiving Tournament. Payson has their own 3-headed monster with Lucas Luce, Tanner Kennedy, and Cole Schwartz. North Green will match with their big 2 with Keaton Brown averaging 15 points a game and Braden Wyatt averaging 14 points a game. I think Payson's experience wins this one. In Game 6, it's Western versus Pleasant Hill. Western has the tough matchup problem in Kyle Cosgrove from the inside-outside game. And I don't think Pleasant Hill has anybody to match up with him on this one. Pleasant Hill coach Blake Skillman is one of the nicest, friendliest coaches around, but I think Western will be too much for the Wolves in this one. Game 7 will be the Porta Blue Jays versus the Greenfield Northwestern Tigers. Porta plays a very tough two-way schedule and has been one of the best teams in the area for the last 5 to 10 years. Head coach Nick Ratleb has the Blue Jays playing well behind their 6'6" point forward Mason Mueller. Mueller is one of the most entertaining players of the tournament. He has good range and great court vision. He comes from a long line of brothers that were all-state caliber basketball players for Porta. Kind of makes you wonder growing up if he was the youngest playing out there on the blacktop. It's probably where he learned to pass very well. Porta's assistant coach Mark Cox is a Winchester native, which has all kinds of ties to the Winchester tournament. He is West Central star Gabe Cox's uncle. He has also played in the tournament. He coached Bluffs in the tournament. He also coached current West Central principal Denny Vortman in the tournament. It's like 6 degrees of separation with Mark Cox. Now back to the game. I think Greenfield will have its hands full, but if Porta knocks down outside shots, I think they have this one. And the nightcap features the Liberty Eagles at 8-3 versus Grigsville Perry 1-11. Liberty is coming off the 5th place finish at Macomb. Landon Obert made the all-tournament team there. They are also led by the Klingels. Britton and Knowlton have provided a lot of offense for these long and athletic squad. Grigsville Perry has a rough start to the year, but one thing for sure, General Todd Bradshaw will have the tournament ready for the tournament. Looking ahead to later round matchups, I like West Central route rematch in the semifinals of the top half of the bracket. I'm not counting out Calhoun just yet. They have a matchup with Payson earlier this week to tell us more about the team heading into the tournament. I like the route guards against Calhoun. Then I have West Central coming out of the top bracket against route. I think in the lower half of the bracket, Liberty and Porta matchup may be one of the better quality of basketball games you'll see of the tournament, but I think Porta will come out of it on top. That gives us a Payson-Western matchup in the other quarterfinals. Two teams that know each other very well. Coach Stout, having played for Brian Ray, who coaches Payson, knows the system, but I don't know if he has the horses to take the system down. So I'm envisioning an all-blue semifinal with Porta Size coming out on top of Payson. So I see a Porta versus a West Central championship. Cole Howard and Mason Mueller matchup would be worth the price of admission if they were playing one-on-one itself. I think they are the only two kids in the tournament that can guard each other. Then you have the Cox and Evans guards versus Porta's guards. I like West Central's guards in this one, but I think you can't overlook the fact that Ryan Moore may be the X factor in this one. He's West Central's 4th option as far as scoring goes. This kid would be a lot of teams' 1st or 2nd option in the tournament. So I have West Central winning it on paper, but you add the pressure of winning it your own tournament is sometimes hard to overcome. Like Robert Ory said, pressure can either burst a pipe or make a diamond. It's up to you and how you handle it. In the 3rd place, I have Payson. In the 5th place, I have Liberty. In the Consolation Championship, I have Triopia. So good luck to all the teams, and hope you go out and enjoy the tournament. On this week's Hoots' High Horse, we're going to discuss small town tournaments. Since the Winchester tournament is starting on Saturday, I thought it was appropriate to discuss the meaning of small town tournaments. I never really noticed the difference until I graduated from Winchester and came back to watch the tournament and how much it means to the people of Winchester. During tournament week, everything in Winchester is put on hold. The people of Winchester and surrounding towns make the trek every night to eat the tournament food and watch some basketball. I remember as a kid going to this tournament, watching different teams play, picking out your favorite players, and then beating them at recess the next day. I remember Blake Cunningham from Carrollton and his smooth left-handed shooting stroke from deep. I remember the Shoots boys from North Green dunking and wondering how cool that would be. I remember the great upsets by many Winchester teams when they were the underdog in the tournament and pulling off big upsets to the hometown crowd. It also amazed me how you see the same people sitting in the same reserve seats each year supporting their teams. The dedication of those people each year is very impressive. How the kitchen each year produces the best food and coconut cream pie in the area. Then when you got to be in junior high and play on the basketball team, then you had to work the tournament by holding ropes, selling raffle tickets, giving water to the refs. Then as a player, you got to play in the tournament. It gave you some extra juice. I know my senior year, we played our best basketball of the year that week. We pulled off 2 upsets and lost to a very talented Triopia team in the semifinals. Then finally, as a coach, teaching my kids about the history of the tournament and seeing all the people that supported me through the years saying hi and playing in some big games at the tournament. Winning the tournament has always been a goal of mine and one that I have not reached yet, but I guess there's still time to do that in my life. The effort it takes to produce such a small town tournament like the Winchester is very big. So if you get a chance this week and if you catch Grant DeWitt, Denny Vortman, or any other workers from the bus parkers to the cooks to the janitors, give them a big thanks, because they are the ones working those late nights to make the Winchester tournament go. And how could I talk about the Winchester tournament without mentioning Mr. Winchester tournament, Kent Coltis? Kent is one of the best and friendliest guys I know. Anything you need to know about the Winchester tournament or Winchester sports, Kent is your man. Kent has a great room full of tournament history for everyone to look at. If you don't know Kent, you'll find him at the scores table wearing the other team's color that West Central is playing. It is his tradition, just like the tradition of Winchester tournament. The tradition of the Winchester tournament brings a smile to a lot of people's faces in Winchester. It is their annual tradition, just like you guys have your special Christmas traditions that we just got done with. So if you have any questions or any knowledge you need about the tournament, just ask Kent. And Kent, if you're listening, don't forget to tell him the best knowledge that you have, that Coach Hoots still has probably the longest shot in Winchester history from about 3/4 court. Just don't tell him I only scored 5 points that game. And if you guys can't make it to the tournament, Central Illinois Sports will have the broadcast like they normally have, and BC Hornet Sports will probably be along too. Thanks, and have a good week. This has been a production of bchornetsports.com. This is Coach Jared Hoots signing off. Get out and support your BC Hornets this week, and remember, make sure you're living life like a 3-1 count. See you next week.